How's it going, guys? This is Andrew right here. Wanted to bring y'all another division build video. As many of y'all know, I kind of stepped away from the game for a little bit. I just recently posted something 2 weeks ago of some Showstopper striker gameplay, and of me, I think I got about 21 kills that game, maybe 22. But anyways, yeah, something pretty crazy for a Showstopper indeed, and a lot of y'all guys like that, and I got some pretty good feedback on that. I was really happy to see that, especially after the long break I took. Was still glad to see that people are still interested in my videos and are still looking for them. So definitely appreciate y'all stuck around. And like I said in that video, I was going to bring y'all a build, a build that that I use in that video. So without further ado, guys, here it is. This is my Showstopping Striker build for 1.6. Go straight into the weapon itself. We have a Showstopper with Competent and Fierce. Showstopper. That would not be a Showstopper. That'd be level C. But anyways, we have a Showstopper with Responsive, Competent, and of course the Showstopper talent. Two very good talents that you're looking for when getting this weapon. It's definitely a hard weapon to get, but if you can get it, these are some very good ones to shoot for. I believe I have 3 at the moment, and this was the best of those 3. So, very, very good. Good luck to you guys that are going to be hunting for it. Many of y'all didn't think it was very feasible or wasn't really going to do much. Once it first came out, and people were kind of messing with it and didn't really find a place for it. But like I showed back in my 1.4, 1.5 build videos, the Showstopper is definitely a gun that's overlooked, and it's very feasible, especially in Last Stand where all your stats and everything is pretty, normalized. So everyone watch out and pay attention to the build if you've got a Showstopper just lying around. Anyways, going on to the attachments for the weapon here. For the underbarrel, we are rocking reload speed, stability, and optimal range. Stability and optimal range, of course, for the ability to a little bit, control this thing a little bit more. It has a lot of kick to it. It obviously shoots a lot of rounds per minute, a 244 shotgun. So it's a lot of recoil. So you want to make sure that you are consistent with your shots and actually able to, land your shots on target so you can build up those stacks. And of course, for my sight, we're rocking critical hit chance, headshot damage, and of course, critical hit damage. Moving on to the level C. Just a basic level C with Competent, Fierce, and Responsive. Many of y'all really, are familiar with these talents here. Moving on to the attachments. Headshot damage, critical hit chance are basically the main ones that I tried to go for this weapon. Reload speed, critical hit damage, optimal range, of course, for the underbarrel. Magazine size, reload speed, and rate of fire, of course, for the magazine. And of course, crit hit damage, crit hit chance, and headshot damage, as I said before. Something that's very, very good and very useful for an AR of pretty much AR of any variant in this game. Moving on to my sidearm, that would be the Damascus with Competent and of course Quick Draw. Just a fun sidearm to have whenever you just barely almost finished a guy and you see him running off and you're out of ammo and you just want to pull something out just to put him down. This is definitely a good fun gun for that. Now, moving on to my main pieces of gear here. I kind of want to explain to y'all my reasoning for balancing out my stats like I did. The main reason I have such high skill power with this build, and I do have 2 electronic pieces here, is for extra survivability. This build is definitely in need of that because the Showstopper itself, with its just original base damage, is not a very hard-hitting weapon. It relies on stacks and the ability to stack the striker set, the striker set bonus quickly, and you need to stay alive in order to do that, obviously. So in having this amount of skill power, I'm basically able to balance out those 2 and keep my survivability rate with my damage, about pretty minimal and pretty on par with each other. So I'm able to build those stacks up and at the same time stay alive to where I can actually utilize them and not just, go down after only shooting the guy, 3-4 times. So that's basically my main, I guess you could say my main theory for building it this way, and for having my stats pretty much similar for firearms and electronics. So going on to the main chest piece, Vigorous, a very crucial part to this build, mainly just for the overheal and for that extra survivability of being able to stay up. Have health, skill, haste, and ammo capacity on here, with electronics mods with skill haste as well. And for a mask, have critical hit chance, and of course damage to elites. Would prefer anything there besides that, but kind of look at what you got. And for anybody who really is not familiar with the striker, bonuses, we're looking at stability here for the 2-piece, enemy armor damage for the 3-piece, and of course the Strikers Battle Gear talent, which is basically, you know, every consecutive shot deals 1% more than than the last, and it stacks up to 100%. And that's basically what makes this gun so useful. And of course, rocking electronics mod with skill haste on the mask as well. Moving on to the knee pads, we have health rolled on for the major attribute, and of course firearms, as well as burn resistance, disrupt, and would really like to have shock and resistance there instead of increased kill XP, but as I said before, go with what you got. And we're of course using electronics with skill haste for the extra survivability, getting those cooldowns low so we can get those heals back up in time, so we can, you know, survive quicker, set up more stacks, heal, more stacks, heal, etc., etc. And of course, for my prototype performance mod, I'm rocking first aid self-heal. Should be pretty self-explanatory at this point. Strikers pack have electronics rolled on it, and of course health for the major attribute and burn resistance for the minor. Of course, I have some Savage gloves. The reason I went for Savage gloves instead of going for something different was mainly for that crit hit chance out of cover. Another good piece of gear, I guess high-end gear that you can use as this, would also be a Tenacious Mask for that extra 10% damage whenever you have a med kit. That works very well with this build as well. Another one that works well, I guess you could say, would be, you know, strongbow knee pads. Shortbow knee pads. And of course Savage gloves here, but like I said, I like to have that extra crit hit chance on there. As I said before, the space damage on this weapon isn't a whole lot, so it needs every little extra bit that I can get. So I'm rocking these Savage gloves here with firearms rolled on there, and of course crit hit chance, crit hit damage, and shotgun damage, guys. And for the holster, it's just got a regular old Striker holster with 8,000 health on it. So this is the main setup for what y'all saw in that last video, and if I may say so myself, it's a very fun build to use. Definitely something that not everybody is running. I think I've maybe seen myself get killed by Showstopper maybe like once or twice in playing Last Stand in the past like 2-3 months. So it's definitely, you know, a build that not everyone can use, not everyone can utilize, and obviously not everyone can put together. So if you could put this build together, hats off to you guys. It's definitely going to be worth it in those certain situations. Like I said, it's a little bit of a more situational set. You're not going to have all that burst damage straight off the bat. You got to build it up, and you got to, you know, use your skills and use the environment around you, kind of set up some certain shots and some certain fights. But in doing so, you know, each kill is more rewarding than the last. So it's definitely just a fun build in that sense of itself. Just going over some of the main attributes here, some of the certain, you know, attributes here. Only doing about 7,000 damage per shot. Like I said, it's not a whole lot of kick to it. But I'm sitting at 60% crit hit damage without the 7% out of cover. Of course, 45% crit hit damage and headshot damage. And I've stacked up about 20% skill haste, which, like I said, just for that extra survivability, guys. Get those cooldowns low, get those heals back, start setting those stacks up again. It's as easy as that. So I really hope you guys like this video. If so, please leave me a comment. Let me know what y'all think of the build. If y'all are working on it yourself, if y'all, you know, kind of overlooked this weapon, overlooked its potential. I sure did, you know, at first, but in getting the weapon and kind of playing with it a little bit, I learned that this has actually been a pretty steady weapon, and over each patch it seems that they're kind of fixing it and buffing it a little more and a little more. So it's definitely one to look for, guys, and definitely not one to overlook. So y'all take it easy, guys. This is Andrew Ray, and Andrew Ray out.